All right, all right. Man, first and foremost, I want to thank you for coming on the platform. This is a tremendous honor. I truly appreciate everything that you have done in terms of your musical contributions. You work with some of the greatest musicians on the earth. So, obviously, you one of their peers. You definitely respected by them. You've been in the game for a long time. So, thank you so much for taking out your time to, talk to us.
Thank you for having me.
Oh yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Now, a lot of the stuff you do is behind the scenes. A lot of times, as consumers or fans, we take for granted that the soundtracks to our lives, the music, all of the work that goes into the finished product. A lot of times, the people behind the scenes they don't get the flowers that they deserve. So, for those viewers that don't recognize you, let them know what your name is and definitely where you're from.
My name is Gordon Chambers, and I am from New York City, born in the Bronx, but have lived in Brooklyn for about 25 years now. And this is my 30th anniversary in the industry as a published songwriter. So I'm grateful.
Wow, that's amazing. I mean, people have so many dreams, of even getting a chance to meet the artists that you have worked with and wrote songs for and been on songs with, and collaborated with. I kind of want to see like how was growing up in the Bronx influential to you? Because the songs that I know you for, they're mostly like R&B, but the Bronx is where hip hop started. So did that
Bronx,
have a major impact on you?
the Bronx is right in the heart of hip hop. And, in the 70s, I grew up in the Bronx. I remember hearing, the sounds of those block parties at night and scratches. I do remember that. And, when we moved to Teaneck, New Jersey when I was 7, that was one town away from Inglewood, New Jersey, which was where Sugar Hill Records was. Their offices was there. That's the first, Rapper's Delight was recorded on that record label. So a lot of rappers lived in Teaneck, um, performed in we had a roller rink that was really famous called the Rink, and they would come and do shows there. So it was right, at that time, the 70s, well, really the 80s was, when I was more of a teenager. I was in a little rap group as a kid. We were kids, and it was what kids were into was hip hop. So the early form of hip hop. But as God fate would have it, I mean, some of the first artists that I ended up collaborating with were in the hip hop community. I sang sang a solo feature with Naughty by Nature on their Paradise album, and the first big star that ever called me into the studio to collaborate was Queen Latifah, and they were part of the Jersey, out of East Orange, out of the Jersey, Newark, and East Orange hip hop scene. So it was a combination of hip hop. But when you think about hip hop, I mean, hip hop has always sampled R&B anyway. There's always been a great respect that hip hop had for R&B. So even though I was a sort of an R&B adolescent, people who were into hip hop respected my, the fact that I could get on the piano and play games people play by Curtis Blow by ear, for instance, or that they respected my musicality, and it was a mutual respect. The hip hop people that I knew, they were cool. They had the cool factor. I wanted to be down with their their heat, their swag, and they wanted to be down with my musicality. So it was like a mutual respect thing.
Wow, wow, that's real cool. Now you had mentioned playing the piano. Did
Yes.
you get into instruments as a child, or is that something you kind of got into later? Were your family musicians, or?
Yes, I started playing the trumpet when I was 7, and then about a year later, I started playing the piano. But yeah, my parents were very musical, loved to play music, loved to play records, still love music very much. So they were record collectors, and they had a lot of house parties where they had all the current, records in their collection. And so when we moved to this town, Teaneck, New Jersey, that was offering free public school music lessons, I started with the trumpet first, and then I wanted to play the piano, so I started with private piano lessons. And my parents supported and nurtured my love of music. They came to every concert, every recital, every music, paid for my private music lessons, but also supported, my, any concerts I had all through high school. And, when it was time to go to college, I didn't go to a music college, but I went to a very artistic school, that I felt would nurture the artist in me. I went to Brown University, even though I was accepted to Princeton with a full scholarship. My father said, once I had that conversation with him, I said, Daddy, I think that this is the more school that suits my vibe, my personality. He let me go. That was going to definitely cost him and me more money because I had to work, on through campus, 2 jobs on campus, but and he had to really, I didn't get a full scholarship, so it cost both of us. But he supported me in being expressing myself, and I'm grateful, forever grateful for that.
Man, that's inspiring, man. That lets you know how important a father can be because a lot of people's story is different. They dad like you got to be a plumber or you got to be this or
Yep.
that, and for him to not only have to spend his money but show you that type of support, that's
Yep.
amazing. And for you to write hit records for, like I say, the best artists to travel all around the world. I read you doing shows in Africa, and man, that's phenomenal. That's phenomenal. Now let me see, because I'm currently in Ghana, so I wanted to kind of ask you about
Oh,
that. What was that experience like
are you
going back?
Ghanaian? Are you from Ghana?
I'm from Cleveland. I'm from Ohio. I'm just visiting, but I'm trying to get my citizenship and buy land, and
Yeah, I mean, Africa's amazing. I went to Senegal recently for vacation in about a month ago. This is this necklace I have with I got at Goree Island. I mean, going to Africa is amazing. I've probably been to Africa maybe 12 times to different parts of Africa. I've been to Ghana, Senegal, Rwanda, Morocco, and I've been to South Africa, and I've been all over South Africa to perform. Some of the trips I was years ago. I went as a journalist because I used to be the entertainment editor of Essence. When I first got out of college, it was while I was there at Essence was when I first started to do my freelance songwriting, and just as a hobby. But while I was still working at Essence is when my first hit songs actually came out. Brownstones, If You Love Me, Anita Baker's I Apologize, Missing You, from Set It Off, um, with Brandy Tamia, Gladys Knight, Chaka Khan. All three of those records were playing on the radio all day while I was still working at my job. I didn't leave until 1997. But while I was at Essence, I also got a chance to go to Ghana and Senegal, to do some interviews over there. And it was amazing. I mean, like, going to the motherland makes you understand like your roots. It makes you understand the culture, the cultural connection, the melanin, the way we walk, the way we talk in certain ways, our fashion sense, our swag. You can see the roots of it. You can definitely see it, and it just makes a difference when you don't have to, like, have whiteness as your reference point to everything. You know, if that makes sense.
yeah, definitely, it makes a lot of sense. I appreciate you sharing that. I've been all over Africa as well. I've been about 20 African countries, but I lived in Johannesburg. I lived in South Africa, and
Oh
for the
wow.
viewers, I want to tell them they have a real wealth of talent down there. They make
Oh
some good
yeah.
music. Yeah, yeah. I was in Mabo Nang. Have you been over there?
I've been to South Africa 4 times. I performed in jazz festivals in Soweto twice, but I've also was brought there once to coach the American Idol, the South African Idol contest. So once I went over there to as a coach. I've been to South Africa, I don't know, 4 or 5 times. So I coached there for a week. I was there coaching them. Um, I went to do some sort of like marketing stuff for the South Africa Tourist Board. So I've been all over South Africa. And then I've vocal coached over the last 3, 4 years, Tyler, actually, who's, the multi-platinum, billion stream pride of South Africa. That's, she's been a vocal coaching client and friend, but I've worked with her for the first time in 2021. And we worked together on it, off and on during, her different appearances and stuff like that, for years. So it's after going to South Africa to work, South Africa sort of ended up coming to me too. So I have a great love for the craft of South Africa. People can really sing and really respect American R&B. They really have a great love for it and can sing in
Yeah.
church. You go to South Africa, that choir is going to sing for you.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Now I can ask you, is like you so multi-talented. Do you have a preference as a being able to play instruments or being able to sing your own songs or writing songs for other people or being a coach, or do you love them all equally
I
the
love them all.
same?
I mean, I really love just being around music as a form of expression and of connection, of emotion, of vulnerability, but also of confidence. So I love music. Like I said, I'm most well known as a songwriter, but I am equally passionate about anything to do with music, whether it be public speaking in a school about music or doing an interview like we're doing about music right now. I've given seminars, for the Apollo classes. I did a whole seminar on Donny Hathaway, which was more like a, kind of like symposium, more of like an academic type of a undertaking. I have vocal coached artists for 10 years, for many, many, thousands of singers I've worked with, over the years. Maybe not thousands, but hundreds, for sure. Thousands of sessions of that, and that grew out of just going out and performing live and meeting, up and coming singers asking me like, oh, do you coach? I think I could take some pointers for you. So that sort of came to me. I mean, over the years of doing music, I kind of was always open to different things in music, and then things kind of like fell into my lap or came my way. You know what I mean? It's not what the thing in music that I was pursuing at the time is not always how the cookie was crumbling. Like when I got very busy as a songwriter in the early 90s, that wasn't really what I was necessarily focusing on. I used to spend a lot of time singing at jazz clubs, singing jazz, not even singing original music, singing jazz standards and hanging out with Roy Hargrove, rest his peace, and Rodney Kendrick, this jazz pianist who was part of Abbey Lincoln's band. Those were my friends, and I was out in the jazz clubs, trying to be a jazz singer. You know what I mean? But I was also writing songs with people, and I was also doing some acting. I love the arts. I love to express myself, and I love to encourage people expressing themselves.
Wow, that's definitely inspiring, man. I appreciate you sharing that. Now, I wanted to ask you about some of the people you collaborated with. You kind of spoke on it earlier, working with the Queen, the Flavor Unit, Naughty by Nature. Now, what was that like, especially working with Queen Latifah to see, she an icon now. You know what I'm saying? Looking back on that.
Yeah, I mean, she was an icon then. I mean, this was probably 30 years ago, but she was an icon coming out the gate. So she was who she was even back then. She was very clear on what she wanted, but she gave a lot of she was very clear on what she wanted. She came to me like, I want to do this. I have a sample, but I need to like put some music around the sample. I want to do a song dedicated to my brother. Here's some lyrics I have. Tell me what you hear. So she was very open to my creativity, but she was also like had a direction, like this is what I'm doing. I'm open to what you hear and what you're inspired by this concept. And then we found the way to put it together. I mean, I think that the best leaders are people who are not dictators, but inspirers of, I don't know if it's the word inspirers, but people who inspire creativity and know how to command without demanding, you know. So, but you want to express yourself and you want to be at your best be around them because they're creative too, and you want to add to their creativity. You want to add yours to theirs, and they're open to yours. I think that's the best kind of leadership.